Alrighty, everybody. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Hello and welcome back to K Talks Tech. Um, if you're here, you probably already know, but let me go through it again. This is a channel where we encourage underrepresented groups to pursue a career in technology. And we also provide information for people who are more curious about technology, are not too tech savvy. It's a really good idea for everybody to understand something about tech. So we have that type of information here on this channel. Um, However, we are targeting Black women, people who look like me, to enter careers in technology, right? So anyone underrepresented, but especially Black women. So it's a great paying field, and you don't have to go to school forever to learn it. Many instances, you don't need college at all. So it's something to think about, right? But you can't think about it if you don't understand what the heck the people are talking about because it's got its own language. There's a lot of jargon. And so here we break down everything. What are the job titles, what sort of background you need, how you can get that background, what the jobs pay, and so forth. Um, and we talk about things that are happening in the tech industry. Really, anything technology might be discussed on this channel. So today, oh, before I get into what I'm going to do today, I want you to go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel and tell your friends, your family, and your foes to come on out and support the channel so we can have our message get louder and wider and reach more people. You know how this algorithm thing goes, right? So go ahead and do that. That's what I call the paperwork. Let's get that out the way. And let's jump right into today's video. Today's video is about the business analyst role. That is what I do currently. Um, there's a lot of different flavors of business analysts. We're going to go through it to give you a great understanding of what the role is and what it does. I don't think that there's any other role in IT that has more responsibilities than business analysts. What I tell people, like most people have never heard of a technology business analyst. So what I tell people is I'm the person that makes sure that when you need a change to your computer systems, that you don't ask for a watermelon when what you really need is a tomato, and that you don't get back a strawberry instead of that tomato. Um, so that means that I sit between the business, who are the people who want changes, who are paying for those changes, and the tech teams that create the changes um, and test the changes. And that's referred to as a development team and a QA team, but there can be other teams involved depending on what's needed. Um, so let's say you need new equipment, that would involve the infrastructure team. Um, if you need to um, create movement of data, you want to take a file from one place and send it to someplace else, that would be the resource team. Um, and all of those are tech jobs, and that's kind of like, besides developer and QA, it's kind of like the hidden part of tech. Let's say you wanted to create an application that sits in the cloud. That's another team. There's a cloud team. So coordination with all of those teams. So I talk with the customer, find out what it is they're trying to do, figure out what's needed from a technical perspective. Either I know those answers myself or I talk to the appropriate technical groups in the company, figure out what's needed, map it out, how it's supposed to happen. I could work with a project manager or I can do the project management myself to map out what is the timeline for what's needed, and then we go forth and get it done. But somebody has to make sure that all the pieces are getting done and the pieces that are done are acceptable, meaning they work the way they're supposed to, and that's part of the business analyst role as well. So let's kind of get into all the different flavors of business analyst. So I started making a list. Um, yeah, let me share that with you. Okay. So here's the list. Okay. I was just writing down what are the things that business analysts do. A business analyst can do research, documentation. I think after documentation, I'm going to put coordination, and presentation. So we research what it is that has to happen to make the changes that are needed. Let me take a step back. Um, so let me just explain a little bit more because I don't think my explanation was adequate. Let's say you wanted to build a house, right, from scratch. You would need to work with someone to design your vision, right? So let's say you wanted to have um, a 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom home. Okay. You would work with some sort of designer who would ask you questions. Okay, you want 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. How many stories do you want? Do you want it all on one level, or do you want a townhouse style which might be 3 levels, or do you want a 2 story home? Do you want a basement or do you not want a basement? What about a garage? What size garage do you want or do you not want a garage? Do you want the garage to be in the front of the house? You like that design, or you prefer the garage around the side of the house? The person that asks you those questions is the designer, right? So I ask those questions as part of the system's design. So in the case of building a home, you have someone who's going to get your requirements. So when you're a business analyst, you elicit requirements. You find out what's needed. Excuse me. And then um, you come up with some design for the system. Okay, so they wanted 3 bedrooms and, excuse me, 3 bathrooms, or 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And did they want all the bedrooms on the same floor, or they want on a different floor? Do they have young children and they want all the bedrooms on the same floor, or are their children older and they want the master bedroom on the first floor and the kids' bedrooms upstairs? Or maybe um they only have two, they only need 2 bedrooms for children. They want the other bedroom um in the basement as an owner's suite, as an in-law suite. Do they want a full walkout basement, meaning you can come into the basement from the ground level, or how do they want that configured? So once you have those requirements, then you have to come up with a functional design. But one of the things that you're listening for when you get those requirements, and even excuse me, my throat is kind of dry and I'm drinking my juice, so um the other thing that you want to find out as you're getting those requirements, what are the pain points? Now, a pain point is exactly what it sounds like. What are those things that the person is saying, I hate this about my current situation. I hate that about my current situation. I wish that it did this. If we could cut out some of the manual processes, then I would be happier. Doing these things would make our jobs easier. Those are called the pain points, right? I'll give you an example. So I had a project where we were automating account openings. Okay. There was one main system. I'm going to try and explain this without getting too techy. There was one main system where you open the accounts, and then depending on what the person wanted to do, and this was a financial institution, um, you had to open one or more accounts in other systems. All of that was manual. What we wanted to do is have you open one account and then have the systems automatically open these other accounts wherever these other what in whatever other systems their accounts needed to be open. So that's a pain point. Oh, I open the account on the main system and then I have 20 other accounts I have to open. How much work? And I firmly believe technology is supposed to make your life easier. So, how much work have you reduced by having the system automatically open 20 accounts for you and you didn't have to do it yourself? And then send you a notification, this account has been opened on this system and here's the account number. I think it's fantastic. And while they're at it, they can send that notification back to the main system where you open the account. And that main system can say, okay, you opened this account, and these are the other accounts that were opened. So you have a place that shows you all the account numbers for that customer. And we did that. And I think it's a fantastic thing. um, so business analysts are very concerned with process, um, and sometimes automation. And I say sometimes because business analysts, basically, there's two categories. There's the business analysts that work on the business side, and then there's the business analysts that work on the tech side. So now, having said that, let's go back to my notes. So if there's an issue or an opportunity, so what I mean is there if there's something that's not working or there's some sort of business that the company may want to get into, there's some research that has to be done. And the business analyst does that. That's probably the number one thing that business analysts do, research. When we do the research, or when we do anything, we create what's called artifacts. Artifacts are documents, right? Sometimes a document is something written, sometimes a document might be a diagram. Whatever it is, whatever we do, we create documentation. The other thing is, I mentioned before, we coordinate multiple groups across the country. And the more senior you are, the larger the project, the more coordination you're going to have to do. Do presentations. Um, so that presentation might be about the research. The presentation might be about the changes that were made to the computer systems. Um, it depends on what type of BA you are. So, um, let's continue with this. So I mentioned that the BAs can work on business projects. Those BAs that work on business projects are called business analysts, and sometimes more senior business analysts also do project management functions. So that's a BA slash PM, business analyst slash project manager. Sometimes the project management is the more required skill. So you'll see PM slash BA as well. Besides these business projects, we have the technical BA. So I've listed them here. You can have an IT BA, which is an information technology BA. The IT BA is the BA specifically for the technology team. Um, the tasks are similar to regular. No, I don't want to say it like that. The tasks are similar to other types of BAs, but you might have more tasks uh, that are specifically for the development team. So typically, the tasks that you get as a business analyst are not for the development team. They are for the business and to the development team because you're liaising, right? That's the word they use, liaise between the business and technical groups. So you're working for the business team. You're working for the customer. The person who's paying for something is the customer. So you're working for the customer and you're working to get what they need, and you're the voice of the customer to the technical teams. The ITBA is working more on things that the technical team needs, right? So they might actually reach out to a customer for information, but they're not the customer's BA. right? So it's a little bit of a different perspective. Um, then there's a technical BA. So a technical BA may or may not be aligned with any development team, but there's some research, some documentation that needs to be done for business issues that dip into the technical world. So you'll need some technical skills to accomplish those tasks. Like there might be some data issues, right? Let's say there's some data that is wrong and it's causing problems for customers. So let's say a good example is, let's say the company buys another company. They don't really need any changes to their systems, but they need to figure out how to take data from the company they bought and have it merge with the data that they already have at their company. A technical BA might be the one to figure that out. Um, so the technical BA needs to have some technical skills. If you're going to figure out how to bring in data, which is data mapping, data onboarding, data analysis, you have to have some technical skills. You're going to have to know how to analyze the data, how to go out to a database and retrieve data, and those are technical skills. Okay. Then you have the BA slash product owner. So the BA product owner is very similar to the generic BA. You know, it's kind of like the generic BA and the IT BA rolled into one, but product owner is a term that's very specific to what is called agile methodology, right? And I don't want to get into an explanation of that other than to say it's a way of working. It's an approach to doing work. And many companies use the agile approach and some companies do not. Um, so other approaches are waterfall, that's the classic approach. Agile is a newer approach. And then some people have what they call iterative, which is not agile is iterative, but if you had something that was iterative but not quite agile, um, and it's kind of like a cross between the waterfall and the agile, right? So if waterfall is at one end of the spectrum and agile's at the other end of the spectrum, then iterative sits in the middle. And then you also have a methodology called hybrid, which means you could take any of those and create your own. So those are the basic methodologies to approach um, a development software development project. And so the agile one has this specific role called a product owner. There's a couple of different types of product owner. There can be a product owner on the business side, also known as a product manager. There can be a technical product owner or technical product manager. So um, the titles keep evolving, but product owner is agile. That's all. Okay. So then we move to the business systems analyst, which is my personal favorite flavor. So the business systems analyst is a little bit of everything. The business systems analyst liaises between the the business customers, and the technical teams. They do a little bit of ITBA work. They're technical BAs, and they can also be product owners, all rolled into one. And that's the role that I do. Then there's a business data analyst. Well, I'll say that's the role I do often because I do everything. I've done all of these. So the business data analyst is a technical BA, but specifically for data. So a technical BA can do other things. Some technical BAs actually code. So I'll give you an example. So I had a project where this person was using Excel to do some reporting. And the reporting had to do with the licenses of the software and so forth. So it's important for the internal. It's important internal to the technology group. And so they were using Excel to try and come up with these different reports, and it would take them about 2 weeks to produce the reports. So I was hired. I was actually hired into that role as a data analyst, but I do whatever I need to do, right? That's why people love to hire me because I'm very flexible and I can do multiple things. And that's something you should definitely keep in your mind if you're entering a career in technology. You want to be as diverse as possible and you want to be very, very good. You do not want to be a Jill or a jack of all trades and master of none. You want to be a jack or a Jill of all trades and a master of most. Okay. So this person was taking 2 weeks to get this reporting done. Um, so since I used to be a developer, um, I took the process, understood what she was doing, and I used Access to create some quick and dirty processes that had a little coding applied to it that allowed her to get her reports in 2 hours. That is a promise of technology, right? To streamline, automate, and reduce work. Um, but to do that, you have to be technical. So in that particular instance, I functioned as a technical BA. Business systems analyst is more like that designer role that I described to you. But business systems analyst is also very technical and can talk tech to the development teams, which in development team language, which people outside development team usually cannot do. So in my house example, if you told me that you wanted a 4 bedroom, 3 bath home, I know to ask you what sort of layout are you looking for? And I know how to tell that to the development team in technical terms. So if the development team comes back, also, I'm going to lay out a plan where the bathrooms are placed in these areas for efficiency and functionality. So, for instance, the master bedroom downstairs has an ensuite, but there's also a powder room. And so the question I need to ask the customer, did you want 3 full bathrooms or did you want 2 full bathrooms and a half bath? What I would suggest is that you have 3 full bathrooms and a half bath so that you can have a bathroom on each level plus a powder room, and your guests don't have to use the bathrooms that any of your family is using. Oh, I hadn't, which I hope they would respond. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. Right? Is that going to cost extra? No, I think we can work it in with the budget that we have because that's what people want to know, right? How much is it going to cost? So, or it can be, well, I don't know yet. I haven't spoken to the development team, which is like your contractors, right? To price it out. Haven't priced it out yet, but um, we can price out both options and come back with estimates. Same way you see on those home shows on TV. That's pretty much what you do with systems. So the business systems analyst is the linchpin for that, right? They're the cog in the wheel that makes the wheel turn. So they're the point of contact for the development team. So you don't want the development team talking directly to the customer because they don't speak the same language. And the customer gets frustrated with that. And the development team doesn't understand what the customer means. So that's what the business systems analyst does. The business data analyst um, understands data. The same way that the business systems analyst understands systems, the business data analyst understands data. So they have a data specialization, right? So that person is also a technical BA, but their technical um, specializes in data. So I would have very close to the same skill set as a pure data analyst, right? So there is some difference there. Um, I don't think explaining it is going to be useful for this conversation because I don't think you would understand the difference there unless you were involved in the industry. But I'll just say it like this: data analysts create things that can be used in systems or reporting. The business data analyst would not create something that could be used in a system, but they might do some reporting. So I'll leave it at that. Now, in all tech roles, you can always have the word, and often do have the word senior tacked in front of it. So a senior business systems analyst has more experience, takes on more responsibilities, and makes more money than a plain business systems analyst. Same thing with junior. You can put that in front of um, any of these job titles, and that person has less experience and makes less money and has fewer responsibilities. So basically, there's a senior, an intermediate, and a junior. Without the senior or junior, you expect that role to be targeted for intermediate, but there's no hard and fast rules, so you always have to read what's required in the job requirement. Sometimes people, instead of, let's just do BA. So instead of asking for a BA, what they do is this: they ask for BA 1 or BA 2 or BA 3. I've seen this go all the way up to 5. I haven't seen anything after 5. After 5, I didn't used to see anything after 4. The 5 is relatively new in my experience, but after 5, you have to go to manager. After manager, you go senior manager, and then you go director. Okay, so that's how the levels um, line up, and you will see that if you go to salary.com. So let's do that. Let's go to salary.com. Let me just make sure that's what you're seeing now. Okay, great. Let's go to salary.com and see what some of those jobs are. Salary. Okay. Okay. Mm, let's do this. Business analyst. And let's say it's in New York. I use New York because it's easy for most people to find a way to compare their cost of living to New York. There are a lot of websites that do stuff like that. Okay, so it's telling me things I didn't ask for. Click on job data, two jobs to compare. So business continuity analyst, that's something different. I don't even want to get into that. Business data analyst. Okay, since they have it on here 3 times, I guess I'll have to do it. The business continuity analyst is a person that analyzes and documents what needs to be done in case of a disruption to the business, like there's a hurricane or natural disaster or fire. Which systems need to be up and running so the business can continue to operate? What are the backup plans? Where is the data stored? Where can they go to start business? Like when we had 9/11, that's where a business continuity plan would kick in. If you have a good business continuity plan, you should be back up and running in hours from a different location. Unfortunately, a lot of companies didn't have that, and so after that became more important. But there's there's not a lot of jobs around business continuity analysts. Okay, So you see business data analyst being mentioned here. Um, I'm not seeing business analyst at all. I'm seeing flavors of it. So let's try this. Let's try business systems analyst. Okay, so here, business systems analyst one. That's the more junior role. As I had mentioned, sometimes they have these numbers that they tack on there. So the one is 0 to 2 years of experience. The two is 2 to 4 years experience. The three is 4 to 7. We don't see four, but the five doesn't say. But let's see. Let's see what happens there if we click that. The five may provide leadership for the work group through knowledge in the area of specialization, 10 plus years. So this is where I am most of the time. So since I'm a consultant, I could operate in any of these roles, which I will do if they pay what I want to make. I'm with it. Okay. Sometimes I go down to 3. I could be at 4. Um, well, here's 4 over here. Okay. Okay, let's see if the 4 is still here. Yeah, there it is. 7 plus years of experience. Over 7 and then over 10. Okay. So now intermediate, 2 to 4. Okay. Senior business systems analyst, 4 to 7. So the 4 to 7 was a 3, and the 2 to 4 was a 2. Interesting. So the intermediate is a senior BSA 2. Okay, a consultant. Let's see what they say here. Yeah, this is usually where I am. 10 plus years of experience. So let's look at what the difference is between this and one. Document system requirements, define scope and objective, create system specifications that drive system development implementation, reviews, analyze, evaluates user needs to create system solutions that support overall business strategy, function as a liaison between IT and users that have both technical and business expertise, may supervise and guide lower level BSAs, requires a bachelor's degree, reports to a manager or head of a unit department, works on more advanced complex technical projects or business issues requiring state-of-the-art technical or industry knowledge, works autonomously. Goals are generally communicated in solution or project goal terms, may provide leadership role for the work group through knowledge in the area of specialization. Requires 10 plus years experience. Okay. Now let's go look at the BSA 1 and see the difference. Okay, reviews, analyzes, evaluates user needs to create system solutions that support overall business strategy. Documents systems requirements, define scope and objective, assists in the creation of system specification that can drive system development, implementation. Function as a liaison between IT and users that have both business and technical expertise. Typically requires a bachelor degree or equivalent, reports to a manager, works on projects of limited complexity in a support role, work is closely managed, typically requires 0 to 2 years of related experience. To be honest with you, I don't know how somebody with 0 to 2 years experience does all of this. I think a business systems analyst is a role that you start out doing something else and then you kind of transition into business systems analyst. So maybe you start as a business analyst and you gain more um, knowledge about IT processes, or you have some sort of training in IT and you become an IT BA. I don't see business systems analyst as a role you go into directly because You are designing the solutions for the computer systems. So you need to have some background to be able to do that. I mean, to me, that's a lot of pressure because if it's messed up, that's going to be a big problem. Right? So to me, that's a lot of pressure for somebody with 0 to 2 years experience. So, and they will have no clue how to do this. What I would say with 0 to 2 years experience, I would look more at ITBA. So let's see what they have for ITBA. Let's see, do they even have that? Project assistant? No, we don't want that. Mm, they don't seem to have that here, but it looks like they have one on Indeed. It's right here. So let's put that out there from Indeed. Let's hold on to that and just try this again by spelling it out. Mm, IT configuration analyst. No, it's still not. This is interesting. Here's a class on Udemy. Well, let's see what that looks like. None of these other titles are comparable, actually. Not really. Okay, so what's this? Just a moment. Okay. You want to make sure I'm human. Trust me, I am. I'm human. I'm human. Okay, IT business analyst job description, top duties, and qualifications. I don't want to listen to the video, but let's see. As an IT business analyst or business systems analyst is in charge of assessing information technology and making suggestions how they can. I don't really think these are the same thing. Okay. Um, as a person who's working in the industry, they're not. Okay. IT business analysts are familiar with information technology and how it can be applied to solve organizational problems. Um, let's see. Collaborate with team members, keep up to date on IT, implement new IT operations into the company, drafts reports, and manage technical difficulties, working with developers when necessary. This is not what I think of as an ITBA. Okay, let's see. Let's go to here. What do they do? Any company that uses technology, develop parameters for successful systems, oversee the operations, and provide consultations on what kind of features or modifications would best serve the company's strategic goals. That's not what I think of as an ITBA. I think of an ITBA as someone who gets the details of the project that has already been kind of decided, right? So with this is saying the ITBA would decide these. I guess if you're very senior, you can. Um, but I really see this role more as the system has been decided, but they need details about specific things. I think you'll see ITBA do a lot of work with reports. Um, let's see. Ability to manage multiple projects from beginning to completion is important for all IT business analysts. I disagree with that. So, okay. So let's see what they're saying over here for the class. IT business analyst for beginners, $13. Let's see what it means to be an analyst in a simple for understanding. Okay. I had mentioned this to you, waterfall and agile, roles and responsibilities, tools to learn for a BA career. You just need Microsoft Office and probably Visio because you're going to definitely draw some flows. Learn what a business analyst is, what they do and how they do it, understanding of business processes within some industries. Yeah, that's true. gap analysis and business requirements. I had mentioned that to you too, and the types. Okay, now 7 sections under 3 hours. So this is, it says 2.5 hours. I think if you wanted to learn more about whether this is something you'd like to do, spending the $13 and taking this class could be well worth it. Okay, so I like this. I disagree with this, right? I disagree with Indeed on this. Okay, they can see me about it if they want to. And we didn't even look at the salary. I was so busy thinking about the job description. So I want to go. Mm, they didn't have IT business analyst. That's right. So we're gonna go back to the business systems analyst. Oh, come on. Okay, let's tell you which page you were on. I think I'm gonna go back to a wired connection for my laptop at home because are you kidding me? Okay. So let's look at business systems analyst one. I think I'm gonna go back to a wired connection because it's just not fast enough for me. All right, so in New York, BSA 1, this is 0 to 2 years experience. The median is 70, just under $78,000. As you progress, you'll be going towards this way. This is not bad. 0 to 2 years is entry level. You probably will start at less, just because if you have if you have, depending on your experience, if you have 2 years experience, I would expect to be from 50 to 90. But if you have less, they might start you over here. So what? Because in 2 years, you can be up over $30,000. Um, the problem with that is when you go somewhere, you're gonna stay here. You might inch along in this area, but if you leave and you go somewhere else, you can get over in this area. So, but I would stay in my first job of any role for at least 2 years. Okay, so let's see. They got some job openings, but I wanted to see the next level role. Um, let's see if we can do a compare. Oh, they have financial business systems analyst. So you work in finance industry. I don't. Well, let's do it. Okay. All right. So let's do this. View the salary. Okay, so you're gonna make a couple $1,000s more in the financial industry, and that really makes a difference long term. Because the other one was what, 94, and this is at 90%, and this is 103. Okay, that's almost $10,000. Um, so I want to go back to, yeah, I want to go to the mid level. Well, this is actually one level up. They said intermediate, right? And this was the one with the job description is not here. Let's see if we can get it right here. Okay, so this was 2 to 4 years experience. Okay, and so now we need to look at what that salary is with 2 to 4 years experience. That's not bad. Now you're getting into six-figure territory right at the middle. Okay. So the other thing I want to look at, we can go back. It's taking too long to go back, so we could just do a search. Oh boy, it's taking too long. Let's do salary.com, business systems analyst. Three. That's what I wanted to do. There it is right there. 94 to 114. Let's see. In NYC. Okay. 110 to 133 with 4 to 7 years experience. There you go. So, so what did you think of that? I'll turn on the light. I'm here in the dark. You can hardly see me. Okay, there I am. So, what did you think of that? Did you like it? Do you think it's something you might be interested in? If you have a bachelor's degree, and you're interested in transitioning to business analyst, I would focus less on the exact title and more on what I want to do. Do you want to work on the business side or the IT side? And that will determine what education you get to be prepared for a role as a business analyst. So if you get, let me just see here. See if I can get a little more light there. No, it's just the light coming through the window is interfering with my light. So anyway, if you if you're interested in working in tech as a business analyst, then you're gonna have to get some sort of certificate in tech. If you want, but that's after you get the business analyst certification. So you should definitely do that. The business analyst certification you want to get, you have your choice of PMI or IIBA. Um, PMI does not have an entry level business analyst certification, but I think IIBA does. Let's go back and take a look. Let's look that up. So IIBA certification. So IIBA is an International Institute of Business Analysis. Um, oh, look at this. CBAP, CCBA, ECBA. Interesting. This is $15. Now, is this really mm, it's based on their okay. So these organizations that issue certifications, which is after you pay a fee, you take a test. If you pass the test, you get the certification. But they've got requirements for that certification. So let's go back to iiba.org. Let's do that. Okay. So let's look at their certification. What certifications do they have? And I'm seeing people ask for this more and more often. I'm probably not going to get one because I've been doing this so long that when you look at I feel like, and this is not to be arrogant in any way, but I feel like if you look at my resume, you see the projects I've done, you see the places I've worked. If you need me to have a certification on top of that, then this is probably more about you than it is me, right? You just are not comfortable. So they have this entry certificate in business analysis. Um, and then they have this certification of capability in business analysis. So I'm not familiar with those two. I am familiar with this. This is what I see being asked for. But if I was going to start, yeah. Oh, oh, they have a lot. These are all new. How about this? Okay, this is cool. All right. So if I was going to start in business analysis as a new person, I would look at this or this. So let's see what this is. And we probably want to see what this is as well. Entry certificate in business analysis. So their requirements are usually you take a class, you pass the class, you take a test, you pay for the test, you take the test. If you pass the test by getting a certain score, you get the certificate. Okay. Oh, they've simplified the entry certificate in business analysis by removing the application process. Oh, that's nice because the application process was you have to prove that you have this business analysis experience. So that's cool. At least for their main, for the main certification, which is the CBAP. Um, Interesting. There's no application process. There's no fee. And there's no education required. The streamlined process will consist of a new exam fee. Explore what that means to you. Hmm. So, is this worth getting? Covers the foundational knowledge of business line according to the Babcock Guide. Showcases you have core knowledge and competency. Okay, so this is an entry level certificate, and it's you could get their book, which is the Babcock, which is like the standards of practice, right? So all of these certifying organizations have practice standards that they say this is how you should approach doing this work. And so for this organization, that book is called The Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, the BABOK, right? So it's kind of like the Bible for a business analyst who wants to get certified by this organization. There are other there's at least one other organization that certifies business analysts. That's the Project Management Institute, which, if you have project management certification, as I do, that's probably where you want to go because you don't want to have to join two organizations and two sets of fees and so forth, right? And you can still participate in whatever um, events and so forth they might have because all of these organizations have a member fee and a non-member fee to participate in different things they have. But the membership fee is like a couple $100 almost these days, so you don't want to have to do two of those. And then the test itself is $300 or $400. I don't know how much this test is. Does it say how much it is here? No. Okay, but you'd need to look at their handbook. Let's just see. Let's just take a quick look. Okay, here's some sample questions. What type of data model, number three, what type of data model is used by implementation subject matter experts to address concerns of performance, concurrency, and security? So these tests are all functional, are all multiple choice. Conceptual, logical, enterprise, or physical? Do they let you actually answer a question and see? Oh, here's the answers. I say A, conceptual. That was number three. D. Oh my God, I can't believe I got that wrong. Let me see what they say. D. D, physical. So implementation, subject matter experts. That was the key. Implementation means it's going to be physical. I don't know if I really think this is a valid question, but you can't argue with them, right? You just gotta get the answers right. Let's see. Let's see. Number six. What factors impact the complexity of the business analysis approach? Number of business analysis professionals working on change. That could. Number of business areas or systems affected. Stakeholder assumptions about the organizational goals. Level of experience stakeholders have in adaptive approaches. I'm not going to guess because I don't want to embarrass myself again. Yeah, I wouldn't have chosen B. So, see, that's the thing. What was B? Number of business areas or systems affected. See, that's the thing with these tests. Your logical mind, based on your experience, would tell you it's this. But you have to understand their approach, not your approach. You have to understand their approach by reading the Babak to see how they're saying you should approach something and then give the answer that they want, not the answer that you would in your practical experience. Okay. So that's why it's very important to, prepare properly. You can look at their handbook. You'd have to read all this information. I'm not going into all of that because I want to go back to I want to look at this other thing, certification of capability in business analysis. So if you're entry level to business analyst, you want to go after that ECBA, right? Once you get some experience, you could move up to this CCBA. Okay. um let's see. Now this is when they start looking at how much experience you have. 3750 minimum hours. Then they tell you how those hours need to be distributed, and it has to be within the last 7 years, and you have to have taken uh, uh, a class within the past 4 years. And this is more what I'm accustomed to because PMI has a similar, you know, um, a similar path you have to follow. Most of these other professional organizations do as well. And here's the thing, you have to provide references. So the people who could provide a reference for me, I don't know where those people are. So that's why I wouldn't do another reason I wouldn't do my certification here. I don't have the references. I don't know where they are. Some of them have retired. So, it is what it is. But if you're newer, you probably know where these people are, and so that could act as references. And anytime you want people to do something for you, there's that whole thing, right? So um, you have that to consider. Um, their flagship certification, though, the one that people really ask for, is this one, the CBAP. CBAP would definitely help you get a BA job. But the CBAP requires so much experience. So I don't know the I don't know how people weigh the ECBA, but I would say this, it couldn't hurt because if you're entry level, like the IIBA is very prestigious. So even if you're entry level and you have an entry level certificate, it came from the IIBA. And that's the organization that issues the certifications that people like to see a business analyst have, right? So you got to have 7,500 hours of business analysis work, two references. Well, okay, that's not too bad. That's only two references. 35 hours of professional development in the last 4 years. And then that experience has to be, that 7,500 hours of experience has to be in certain areas. 900 hours in four of the six for a total of at least 3,600 of the required 7,500. So they're saying you have to have specific types of experience. Okay, who is CBAP? Product managers, non BA consultants. Huh? I don't know why you would do that. Um, but I guess if you don't have the BA title, but you've been doing this BA work, that could help you. Um, I haven't met anyone who's a certified business analyst, but my understanding is it's a tough test. So, all right. So now let's go back. Okay. So I think I've covered all of the pieces that you need for business analysts. This was a long one because there are so many nuances in business analysts. There's a lot of different responsibilities. There's a lot of different lanes you can be in. You can be on the business side or the tech side. You can be on the tech side working more with the development team. You can be on the tech side more uh, developing a project end to end. So, and then you could be working just with data, or you could be not working with the development team but doing technical tasks. So there's a lot to a business analyst, and you need a lot of different skills. You have to know how to write, you have to know how to speak, you have to do presentations. um but if you are a person who's organized and you like details, this can work for you. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can put them right in the comment section of the video. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Um, Go over to K Talks Tech website and get the free downloads that explain systems development overall. That would help you in your journey if you're interested in becoming a BA. And I'll see you next time where we will continue to talk tech.